Hey y'all, today's objective is adding and subtracting fractions. I know that you spent a lot of time in 6th grade adding and subtracting fractions, and so today the real new material is with negatives. I'm sure that most of today will be a review and just a few rules and some vocabulary. LCM, least common multiple, and that's also going to be your common denominator. A mixed number is a whole number and a fraction. And then an improper fraction is a fraction when the numerator is greater than the denominator. So we're going to be using some improper fractions today, some mixed numbers, and some common denominators. So just a few steps. Convert the mixed numbers to improper. And I'm sure you probably know how to do this using what they call around the world, where you multiply down here and then you add up here. So around the world, convert mixed numbers to improper. Find the common denominator before you add or subtract, and then you have to use your integer rules for positive or negative signs, meaning same signs or different signs. If the numbers are the same, if the numbers are different, when you add, when you subtract. All right, examples. I have 3 examples for you, 1, 2, and 3. Let's work them out together. Example 1. 1/2 plus 1/3. So the first thing we need to do, we don't have any mixed numbers, so we can find a common denominator, and I've already found that my common denominator is 6. After you find a common denominator, you have to use the golden rule of fraction, change the numerator. 2 times 3 is 6, so 1 times 3 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6, so -1, that's a negative, times 2 is -2. So 3 over 6 plus -2 over 6. I have a common denominator, so now I can add 3 plus -2. You have to use your integer rules. 3 plus -2 is 1, and then our denominator stays the same. So 1/6. Example 2. 2.5 minus 5 2/7. 2.5 minus 5 2/7. We have mixed numbers. So I'm going to do around the world. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5, and so that's where I get 5 over 2. 7 times 5 is 35. 35 plus 2 is 37, and that's where I get 37 over 7. Notice my denominator 2 remains the same, and then I brought down my minus sign. So I have to touch twice. We have to touch twice. And now I have to find a common denominator. Between 2 and 7, I know my common denominator is going to be 14. So 2 times 7, and that's 35. And then 7, whoops, oh no. 7 times 2, 37 times 2, 37 times 2, what is that? 74. 74 plus negative. And now I have 35 plus -74. This top part, I'm going to use my integer rules right here. These are different signs, so that means I'm going to subtract. 74 minus 35. 14 minus 5 is 9. And the 74 is bigger, so my answer is going to be negative. So -39 over 14. And it's okay with me if you leave it as an improper fraction. I know last year in 6th grade your teachers probably said you can't leave it an improper fraction. But now in 7th grade, and whenever we make the connection into a further unit called slope, this is why we're going to leave it as an improper fraction. So -39 over 14. Example 3, -4/5 minus 2 1/3. So we need to do around the world. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7, so this is where I get 7/3. And then I'm going to touch twice. I have to find a common denominator between 5 and 3. So my common denominator is 15. When I use the golden rule of fraction, 5 times 3, so -4 times 3 is -12. And 3 times 5, so -7 times 5 is -35. use your integer rules. So are these same signs or different signs? These are same signs. That means I add negative 12 plus negative 35 is going to give me a negative 47 over 15. And again, I can leave, is that right? 7, 4. I'm going to leave it as an improper fraction. I'm not going to convert it back to a mixed number. I'm just going to leave it as an improper fraction. So here were 3 quick examples. So here are you-try examples. Number 4, number 5. An addition problem, a subtraction problem. So remember, you're going to have to touch that twice. Convert your mixed numbers to improper, and then use your integer rules. I want you to pause the video. You work them out yourself, and then restart the video when you're ready to see my explanation and see the answer. So I do around the world, and that's negative 23 over 5 plus 5 plus 1, 4 plus 1, 5 over 2. I need to get a common denominator, so I'm going to use 10. And do this side times 2, and that's negative 46. Do this times 5, and that's 25. And then I see I have different signs, negative 46 and 25, so I'm going to subtract. 46 minus 25. 6 minus 5 is 1, 2. And the 46 is bigger, so negative 21 over 10. Negative 21 over 10. I hope you got that right. Number 2. Have to do around the world. So negative 1/2 minus negative, let's see, 5 times 5 is 25, plus 2 is 27 over 5. I have to find a common denominator. I'm going to go ahead and touch twice. A common denominator again would be 10, and this would be negative 5/10. And this would be 27 times 2 is 54. I have different signs, so that means I would subtract. 54 minus 5 is 49. And this one's bigger, so it would be positive, so 49 over 10. 49 over 10. I hope you got those right. So, real world example. Sally, her brother, and another partner own a pizza restaurant. If Sally owns 1/3 of the restaurant and her brother owns 1/4, what part does the third partner own? So we're looking for the third partner own. Well, we know that Sally plus her brother plus the partner all own one whole of the restaurant. They own the whole restaurant. Sally is 1/3, her brother is 1/4, and we don't know what this is. We're looking for that. You could put a variable there, x, but right now I'm just leaving it as a question mark. And we know that that is one whole. We need to put together 1/3 and 1/4, so we need a common denominator of 12, and then this would be times 4, and this would be times 3. So I'm going to move over here. 4/12 plus 3/12 is going to give me 7/12 is what Sally and her brother own together. Plus what is going to give us one whole. Now, one whole right now doesn't really help us. We want a common denominator of 12. So if our common denominator is 12, how many out of 12 do we need to make one whole? We would need 12 12s. So we're going to put that over here. 7/12 plus what is going to equal 12 12s? Well, without even knowing it, we're setting up an equation, but I bet you can figure out what fraction does the third partner own. 7/12 plus what would give me 12 12s? And by subtracting 7 from both sides, we would get 5/12 is what the partner owns, the third partner. So then you could check 4/12 plus 3/12 plus 5/12 is equal to 1 whole, which would be 12/12 of the pizza restaurant. Here is a you try, number 7. I'm going to read the problem to you, and then I want you to try it on your own. Bethany's puppy ate 24 1/4 pounds of dog food in January, and then 43 2/3 pounds of food in April. How many more, this is key, how many more pounds of food did her puppy eat in April than January? So you pause the video and then restart it when you're ready to hear the explanation. All right, so how many more means we're going to subtract 43 2/3 minus 25 1/4. We have to convert them to from mixed numbers to improper. So 43 times 3, 3 times 3 is 9, 129 plus 2, 131 over 3. 25 times 4, well that's easy. 25 times 4 is 100, plus 1 is 101 over 4. And then from here, you would have to find a common denominator, subtract, and then you would get an answer. I'm going to leave you at this point right here for you to find a common denominator and subtract and find out how many more pounds of food. But my question is, why would her puppy eat more food in April? If her puppy eats 25 pounds and then increases to 43 pounds, why would a puppy eat more 4 months later? So we're going to talk about this one tomorrow. So I've worked you through this point, and if you didn't get to this point, then go back, fix it, find a common denominator, and then rework it. All right, here is another you try, real world. The stock market was 3 1/4 points on Saturday and then dropped 5 points on Sunday. It was 3 1/4 and then dropped 5 points. What is the point value now? Well, we know that we're going to start at 3 1/4 points, and it dropped 5 points. 3 1/4, and it dropped 5, so minus 5, or you can touch twice, and you get plus -5. You would need to touch twice to get plus -5. So you are going to convert this to an improper, and -5 is an improper. What would -5 as an improper? We haven't talked about it, but if you remember from 6th grade, whenever you have a whole number, if you want to convert it to improper, you would put it over 1, and this would be 13 over 4. So at this point, you have 13 over 4 plus -5 over 1. You have to find a common denominator, and then you have to add using your integer rules, and then you should come up with an answer at what the point value is now. So we're going to go over this one, and we're going to go over Bethany's puppy tomorrow in class, and I'll see, along with some other problems, how well you know how to add and subtract fractions.